listeners. I just wanted to do a little precursor before we get into this episode as we delve into some very heavy topics, including rape as well as other forms of abuse. Viewer discretion is advised. Hi, guys. I'm Nina.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Ethan.
And we are Bloody Essentials. We just want to thank everybody who's already supported the podcast. It really means a lot to us, and it allows us to continue to do what we do. Also, shout out to our Patreon, Rick Paulton. Rick, thank you for all that you do for us, whether it's just, being a friend or telling us what you thought of the episode. It really means a lot to have you as a supporter.
Yeah, you're awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you want to be mentioned in our episodes as well and receive fun little goodies from the entire Bloody Essentials team, like unedited episodes, see what doesn't make it to YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts, that's always a good time. We're also hoping to get monthly movie parties with all of our Patreons started this year. And we also have a Discord channel if you are a Discord enthusiast like me. We share pet photos. Maybe you are really big into recipes. It's just a great way to connect with the horror community and fellow listeners like yourselves. And we are also on there. So, well, we're working on getting Ethan on there, but Jamie and I are on there.
I have a lot of stuff to put on there. I just don't know how to get in it yet. So
we got you. We got you.
We got you. Yes.
I will be putting some horror themed drinks on there, by the way.
Ooh.
Yes, we're excited. Yeah.
Okay.
We're hoping that potentially this year we could do alcoholic and non-alcoholic versions of drinks based around the movies that we review. So if you are interested in that, let us know.
You're interested in that.
Yeah.
That sounds good, right?
We have alcoholic versions and non-alcoholic versions for our people that don't mix spices. So
Perfect.
I know we say don't do drugs, don't have sex, don't die, but
but have a good time.
But really, if you have to live by one, just don't die. So
yeah, exactly.
There's a few final girls out there that made it.
Yeah.
And when we do the episode where we do the cocktails with whatever we're going to do, if you're a Patreon, you're really going to want the unedited version of that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We got to, sample these things here. Okay.
Definitely. Make sure it's not poisoned. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You got to have a few to know, really.
For sure.
Right.
All
7.
Right.
Gotta have at least 7.
We're thorough around
Exactly.
these parts.
So tonight we are doing something that's very interesting. I think it's perfect for the new year. This is our first new year 2025 episodes. So tonight we are talking about a subgenre that I think is near and dear to all of our hearts, really. And that is, it's a new genre that's kind of emerging. Mm-hmm. It's called the good for her subgenre. And basically what that means is anything where a woman feels empowered. She is taking vengeance on somebody. So, like the I Spit on Your Grave series, or, just Midsommar is a big one that people love. So things like that, where women specifically, or maybe female identifying folk are taking vengeance on people, or just just feeling empowered, basically.
Yeah. Like reclaiming their power.
Reclaiming their power. Yes. Manifesting their power. Yeah. So I think this is going to be a really fun episode. I've watched so many old favorites, revisited some old favorites and found some new ones that I love. So this is exciting.
Yeah, I will say, wow, I've had some female rage moments this week as I've watched a few of these, revisited some, but
yes.
I don't think
for sure.
But some people got what they deserved, though, and that's when we were like, you know what? Good for her.
But you know what? I also have watched a whole lot over the last couple of weeks, and there was some male rage there as well.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rage all around.
Maybe on both sides, though, so don't say good too quickly.
No.
So we'll talk.
There were a few that when we were doing our research, we found listed under the genre that I don't really think go in that genre.
Correct.
We'll get into it.
Yeah.
We'll get into it, Jamie.
Yeah.
All right. I don't really know. Jamie, I guess let's talk about the first time that you really heard about the genre, because this was kind of one of your ideas here. So
Yeah. So, I think I first heard about this little subgenre, I don't know, maybe like a year or so ago.
Yeah.
And really it just started with a like kind of meme that I saw. And I actually looked up the origins of this because I was curious, right? So
Ooh.
it started with a meme, of course, as so many things do these days, right? So it was a meme from the comedy show Arrested Development. One of the characters said good for her in regards to a news story about a woman who basically I forget what she did, but she did something, and the lady was, and the character's like, good for her. So that became this meme. And then all of a sudden people started kind of like looking at that lens and applying it to horror movies, especially movies that were coming out at the time, like Midsummer. The Witch was another one that came up.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, people just started, gathering these movies that have, come from the past, from the 70s, these rape revenge movies, and saying, oh, hey, these kind of fall in there too. So that's kind of how it got its start. It's a really, really newish kind of thing. There are some kind of non-horror movies that fall into that universe too, like Gone Girl is a
Double
big one.
Jeopardy.
Yes, exactly.
So
yeah, exactly. So it's definitely not just restricted to the horror genre, but obviously there's a lot of good ones in the mix. So that's a little bit of the background of where it kind of came from.
Love it. Yeah, thank you for that background, because I wasn't for sure on, it seems like a pretty new kind of subgenre, but I mean, it's always been there in the forefront.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. When you guys said, let's do this, I was like, okay, great, let's do this. What the hell is it?
Yeah, no,
I was like, I mean, I understand the concept, but I was like, I didn't know it was.
Where do you draw the line of what is a good for her?
Exactly. I was like, where do you draw the line? What's a good for her and what's a she's a psycho bitch?
Yeah, exactly.
Which you get quite a bit of that.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. All right. So let's just, I've written down a whole list of things. I've got some of my favorites that I found here. Obviously, the first movie, at least for me, that comes to mind when I think of good for her is Carrie.
Mm-hmm.
From
Carrie's a good one.
Yeah. Specifically 1976, because that's my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I think that moment, that sequence where you have the split screen and she's using her telepathic powers, that's like such a perfect kind of good for her moment too. I think that whole sequence kind of I mean, she's getting her revenge, and it's pretty well deserved. Those people were pretty awful to her.
My big moment where I'm like, good for Carrie, is when she stands up to her mom. There's nothing worse than, abusive parents. Like, come on. So when she finally is like, no, mama, I'm going, and even at the end when she literally kills her mom, I'm like, good for you, Carrie.
See, the good for me, or the good for her moment for me, was when she stood up to her mom in the first place and was like, no, I'm done.
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously killing her mother, killing bad.
Killing bad.
Killing bad. We all know that.
But self-defense.
Right. Well, no, self-defense, because she was trying to kill her. So there's no issue with that. But here's where I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Oh, boy.
Now, Carrie's mom deserved it.
Oh, absolutely.
All the little a-holes that did everything to her deserved it.
But the innocent people that were in the gym?
What about all the innocents in the gym?
Guilty by association.
There you go.
Oh, okay. Guilty by association.
Listen. Here's my thing. Here's my thing. Okay. So we've talked about this when we did Carrie, right? And you may remember Mr. What's his face, blonde, curly, handsome guy that takes Carrie to the prom. He's got a girlfriend already.
Right.
He's going to take Carrie to the prom because he's a nice guy, and his girlfriend asked him to do it.
Right.
But the next day, what's going to happen when Carrie finds out, hey, you're still with your girlfriend and you spent the evening with me? I think it would have happened eventually anyways.
So it's okay to have a preemptive.
It's not okay to kill anybody, Ethan.
It's okay to have a preemptive strike before something happens, because something's going to happen.
Listen,
and I will say, I think,
like I said, I'm going to play devil's advocate.
No, it's good. So. I actually think one of the trademarks of a lot of good for her kind of horror movies are that her actions are morally ambiguous, let's say, or
Mhm.
questionable most
absolutely.
of the time. Obviously, like killing anybody is bad, but
Well-
it's that kind of like it's that
Vigilante justice is never clear cut.
yes,
It's
exactly.
purely like it's right in the gray. Like people are like, oh, it's black and white. You killed people. You were in the wrong. But ultimately, like in their mind, they are taking revenge on the people who have hurt them. And that includes everybody in that gym, including the people who knew that Carrie had been bullied and did nothing to stop it.
What about the people who didn't?
How did they not know? It's a small town.
Everybody was in on
everybody
this.
was in on this because listen, you go down a hallway and you see people picking on Carrie White. Come on. Stand up for Carrie.
Somebody stand up for Carrie.
Nobody stood up for Carrie her entire life. So Carrie stood up for Carrie.
Now I realize that we're talking about the movie.
Yes.
Like I said, I try to look at this from every aspect here and
Yes.
every genre, because I mean horror imitates life, blah blah blah, all that good crap. Now, I hope people don't. And
Ethan, if we have to edit right here, let us know.
So,
yeah.
Okay. Well, no.
Hey.
Here. So, school shootings.
Oh my God.
Now here, they were picked on, they were abused, they were all of this good stuff. Hey, if they beat the guy,
I'm not talking about life. I'm talking about a movie.
I'm talking about life.
This isn't the podcast for that.
But art imitates life.
All right. So,
Yes.
for those of you who don't know, this is a horror podcast where we talk about horror movies. We are not encouraging anybody in any way to kill other people, harm other people in any way, no matter what they did to you.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
And
there we go.
In real life, folks, I encourage peace, harmony, and taking the high road. In horror movies, none of that, please.
Please don't take the high road.
I don't necessarily encourage that. I just don't want you to kill people. So
yes.
All right, moving on. Ethan, tell us about one of your favorite good for her horror movies that you've, whether it's a revisited horror movie or a new watch for you. Tell us.
One of the ones that I like the best, which people cringe at, is the original I Spit on Your Grave.
I like this movie, and it's a weird movie to say that you like because it's hard content, and there's some pretty prolonged scenes in there. That one's pretty brutal, but I do like this movie. It's a weird thing to say to people sometimes, but yes.
And personally, I don't think I love the bathtub scene because he got exactly what he deserved.
I love the bathtub scene. I think that scene is very rewarding.
Now, as a guy, every time you watch that bathtub scene, you go, oh, God. Because, I mean, if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it.
Well, I'm just going to play devil's advocate here.
Go ahead.
Every time I have to watch a rape scene.
I'm not saying that.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
The number of rape scenes I've found in movies this past week alone outnumber the bathtub scene 10-1.
There are a lot.
And I get that, but I have the equipment that was getting cut off, so that makes me squirm a little more than the other. So
that's fair.
But I will say this, some of the other guys that she killed, I think she should have done it slower and more painful.
I don't know. I think the bathtub kill, I think he was the instigator in a lot of it. So I think she should have done that slower. I mean,
oh, yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Like maybe some twisting. But I think she did it fast because she knew she couldn't physically overpower him. So
yeah.
This honestly was a first time watch for me. I'd seen the remake, but I'd never seen the original. And I'm glad we did this because like I wouldn't have watched that otherwise. Like I wouldn't have, because this is like, I like good for her horror movies, but I don't like the rape revenge plot if I can avoid it.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah. Right. So I'm not going to say I like this movie because that just feels weird, but at least to me, but like I did find it like rewarding, and I think it was a very good movie. I think it was really well filmed. And the payoff is definitely there for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
For all
Yeah.
of them. I was wondering by the end of the bathtub scene, I'm like, well, how are we going to kill the other two? Like,
Right.
and I was not disappointed. Like, it's pretty hard to top that.
And
Yeah.
Camille Heaton is an awesome person. I was
Really.
able to meet her a while ago.
Ah,
Yeah, she is.
Is she
she's-
still alive?
As far as I know, she is. I met her like 15 years ago.
So she
Oh.
probably doesn't do cons anymore.
I don't think so, but
That's a
she
shame.
was just as. First of all, she was just as gorgeous when I met her as she was in the movie. But
Yeah.
she was so down to earth.
Aw.
She was so nice. She was very, very nice.
I have to say,
Yeah.
I think this was a really brave role, and like it's hard to watch. Like, absolutely, it is at points, but like, I also think it's important. I don't think it's a subject that should get totally shelved. Like, I think
I
it's
agree.
important to have that like catharsis and like that
Yep.
Mhm.
way to express it and talk about it.
Yeah.
So I do think that's important. And I do think that this is a movie that it's a great movie. It's a great 70s movie. And I think that sometimes people don't give it a chance because it is very difficult
Yeah.
content wise. And yeah, trigger warning. If that's something that's hard for you to watch, then this one might not be for you. But it is a great
Yeah.
movie. It's very interesting. And I will say, I read a little story from the director. I forget if it was off of commentary or what, but the director was saying part of his inspiration for this was there was one point in his life where he basically encountered a woman crawled out of the bushes. She was
Yeah.
disheveled. She had basically been raped. She had been assaulted, and he helped her. Basically, like brought her to the police,
Yep.
like made them take her to the hospital. You know, so this was like a big inspiration for him to
Yeah.
make this movie.
Correct.
He thought it was
Yep.
something that was definitely worth talking about. Essentially,
Yeah, he was
Well-
on his way to go play tennis when she crawled out of the.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's kind of amazing that,
And-
you know, she's the inspiration for this.
And if I'm not mistaken, Camille Heaton and the director actually got married
Oh,
Oh,
wow! I didn't know
really?
that.
and then got divorced.
Okay.
But I
Mhm.
guess they remained friends, and I think it's in the documentary that you're talking about,
Yeah. Mhm.
Jamie. That
Oh, okay.
Camille Heaton actually came on there and they were talking about it, and that's how I knew they were married and divorced. And
Well, if you guys remember the name of the documentary, let me know and I'll include
Okay.
it in the description of this video.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And I guess even the family of this girl that, you know, he helped or whatever, even like wrote a letter thanking him, wanted to give him a reward. He said
Yeah.
no, which is like amazing, great.
yeah.
I will
And here's
say,
just a fun fact.
Yeah.
You guys know the poster
yeah, of
for I
course.
Spit on Your Grave. Do you know whose butt that is? It's not
I
I
do
found
Camille.
that
know.
last week.
Yeah, it's not Camille Heaton's.
know.
It's Demi
So,
Moore's.
It is Demi Moore.
I was like last week's old when I learned that, or this
Right?
week's old when I learned
I
that.
saw,
I had
I
no
saw that on
idea.
the Instagram feed and I was like, oh my God.
I know.
Like, I respect that woman even more now.
I know.
I will say, I think while rape revenge plot movies are not my favorite, I think they do have a place in film
Mhm.
because film is a place that we can go to. Like I said, I don't condone murder. I don't think it's acceptable to ever
Right.
kill anybody unless it's self-defense. But there is something cathartic in taking vengeance on people who have wronged you or hurt you. And I think it's deeply therapeutic, this movie,
Sure.
if
I do
you've been
too.
through that kind of experience. So
Sure. For some
like
people,
if-
I'm sure that it helps them heal.
absolutely.
Amazing.
And that's, I mean, a lot of people have said that about Some Final Girls. Like, I know Heather Langenkamp gets talked to about, you know, from different trauma survivors or whatever, that the character in Nightmare on Elm Street was very cathartic for them. So
Sure.
Yeah, well, horror gives us a chance to like face a lot of really scary things and survive, you know,
Yeah.
and like actually be able to like live through that difficult experience. So horror can be really, really good for people. I mean, there's
Yeah.
studies about this very thing that some people like, yeah, that they respond well to that because it's that
Absolutely.
opportunity to face scary things and succeed.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. To say, hey, I've been in this situation and I lived through it, you know, because I'm feeling this way. She got through it, although it's made up. You know what I mean?
Sure.
it helps people. It does.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And like I said, like I know a lot of people. We'll talk about this in a future episode because we've had somebody specifically request that we talk about this. But controversial movies, like, or controversial topics in movies, like
Yeah.
some people think it doesn't have a place in films, or there are some things that are too taboo that shouldn't be discussed.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a very few things that shouldn't be discussed, and like this is not one of them. I think that trauma of any kind or abuse of any kind
Right.
deserves to be talked about because you don't get through it until you talk about it.
Yeah.
Ask anybody.
And not
Totally.
only that, but if no matter what it is, if it's a a rape scene or an abuse scene or whatever, if it's too triggering for you, then just don't watch it.
Yeah. Step away. There's no shame in it. I have had to step away from many things because
Same.
Absolutely not. Just don't watch it, but don't tell everybody else this needs to be banned. You can't watch it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not the way it works.
Yeah.
Listen, some things there's some, well, I can't really think off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's some things that if I started to watch it, I'd say, nope, I'm done. I can't. That's not my jam. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
There's no shame in that. I'm going to walk away from it and be like, cool, I'll come back to the next movie.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I
You should
think
be able to do that.
I think these kinds of movies, specifically good for her horror movies and even revenge, rape revenge movies, like I think it opens up the floor to have conversations about rape and other kinds of abuse and things like that. So I think that there's definitely a place for these types of movies, regardless of whether they're for you or not. So
I think they have an important place. And again, I think sometimes these movies are not given the fair credit that they deserve, or people don't give them a chance. And again, understandable if, that's hard for you to watch. It's hard content for sure. But like, give it, if you're interested in it and you don't think you can handle those scenes, I'm sure there's online you can find like what time it is and skip it.
Jamie, what is, whether it's a new discovery for you or one of your favorites that you revisited this week, what is one of your favorites for the good for her horror genre?
Okay, so one of them I'm going to pick, it's one that I really see commonly associated with this genre, and that is The Witch. Really, really enjoyed this movie. Just rewatched it today, just so that I could get a flavor of it again. And I really love Thomason, I think is how you say her name.
Yes.
I really love her journey here. I mean, because when we're first introduced to her, she's literally like confessing to her sins, but her sins are really just like her being a young lady, she's like, I deserve, she's like, basically like, I deserve shame. I deserve more shame. So she's already there. Okay. She's going to get past that. All right, folks. She gets blamed for like the baby getting taken away. She gets blamed for the cup being taken away from, she's blamed for basically everything. And like, she finally, like when the parents are gone, all her family's gone. She like goes to Black Phillip. She talks to him. She's like, she wants that. She wants what he can give her. And like at the end, when he asks if she wants to live deliciously, and she says yes, and she goes naked into the woods and levitates, and she's smiling, and I feel really good.
She's been deprived all her life, and it's literally not her fault that they're out there and starving to death. It's her parents' fault.
I know, and they're like gonna basically like sell her to a family. Basically, is what they're talking about.
Food, yeah.
So it's like, you know what?
Like, no.
It's just trying to like live her life. Damn it.
She just wants to be free. She wants to do what she wants to do. She's tired of these overprotective parents that are nuts.
Yeah, and she has some very good, like, good for her moments in it. There's the moment where she's teasing her younger siblings because they're like, you lost the baby, you're a witch, or you gave the baby to the witch or whatever. And then she says, yes, I am the witch, and I will make any man or anybody else disappear. So there's like this good for her moment there. And then definitely when she talks to Black Phillip, and then definitely that ending when she's smiling in the air with the other witches.
Honestly, the end where she talks to her mom, like that felt so rewarding to me personally.
Because her mom is literally like out for blood.
She's trying to kill her, yeah.
She's gonna kill her, yeah. And she's like, I'm your daughter. And she's like, no, you're a witch. You're the devil. And yeah.
Yeah.
So I really like that one. Love the movie. I love her journey. Again, this is like a good for her movie that it's not a rape revenge movie. That's not kind of the journey she's taking. But yeah, her end is very rewarding to me. She looks like she's pretty happy at the end.
She does. She does. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't bring this one up, because this one always gets labeled as good for her horror, and it's also controversial among the men too. So I think we need to discuss Midsummer.
Okay, let's do it.
Right?
Jamie, let's talk about why we love this movie. I mean, first off, obviously the visuals. We've got Florence Pugh. Like,
Oh, I love her so much. Don't even get me started. She serves such good face in this movie. Oh my god.
yeah. This is a fun movie. I hadn't revisited it since. I mean, this is my first time watching it since the first time I saw it. So, like, there's been some time between this, but yeah. I don't know if I should go ahead and say my controversial opinion on this or not. I
would love to hear it, because I was reading a variety of people's opinions on this being a good for her horror movie. I heard some different thoughts on it, so yeah, lay it on us. I want to hear what everybody has to say here. So
I'm gonna get a lot of shit for this.
Let's hear
I'm just gonna say it. All right. So you know the scene that a lot of men don't like, which is the rape scene that Christian goes through, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. My controversial opinion, and this is just me from what I saw and what I've witnessed, and my perspective upon the second viewing, okay?
Okay.
I don't think that this is technically a rape scene. Now hear me out.
Okay.
I know a lot of men are like, whoa. All right. So I have seen a lot of rape scenes this week, okay?
Yeah.
A lot of rape scenes this week. In this scene, Christian goes in there willingly, of his own free will. Now that's not follow me on this journey, okay?
Okay.
First off, a woman is lying there naked. They start to have sex. Yes, he is still willing at this point. Yes, we all agree on this, okay?
Yep.
Now, the women that are also in the room, they don't rape him, right?
No, some of them touch him.
They touch him.
Now they sing to him, which felt like a violation in a big way.
Right.
Well, them being in the room is a little weird.
Yes. The singing. But other than that.
Go ahead.
But some people do it. It's clearly just a ceremony or ritual to them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Correct.
He does not leave when he sees them. He does not leave when they start to touch him. He continues. He is on top, by the way, which is more than I can say for the other rape scenes I've seen this week. He is not restrained. He is not being hit or slapped or degraded verbally. So therefore, based off the rape scenes that I have witnessed, I'm going to say Christian continued of his own free will. And this is not a rape scene. I don't know how it could be interpreted as a rape scene. Discuss.
I mean, I feel like, he was, okay, so yeah, I feel like, there were chances for him to get up and leave, I feel like, too. It's not like anybody stopped him when he did leave.
Yeah. He finished. He left. They didn't stop him.
I get that now. Now he was pretty drugged up at this point. I will give him that.
Yeah.
He wasn't of his full fruition, for sure.
Sure.
He was on a lot of strong hallucinogens, but
he's also been consistently given things all week long that have had things in them that have made him not of his own volition that he took willingly. And he knew that there was stuff in it, just like he knew there was stuff in this last drink that he took.
He did know, because he was almost like, I don't know if I'm going to take this. But then he saw the girl and he was like, I am going to drink this, actually. So that's what changed his mind. He was like, I'm not going to take this hallucinogenic drink because I think it could be a bad idea. And then he's there and he sees the girl again. And then he's like,
the girl that he ends up sleeping with.
Yes.
Ethan, male perspective, please.
I didn't necessarily find it a rape scene either.
I don't think it's a rape scene.
Okay.
He was, I don't think it was even kind of discussed with him before it happened, because like the lady brought him into her house with all the cool drawings on the walls. Yeah. And she was like, what do you think of her? Like, you're a perfect match for her.
Yeah. And she tells him, like, we think you guys should procreate, mate, which is what, like, you
guys should get it on. I'm just saying, we're here. It's midsummer. We're drinking this hallucinogenic drink.
He's never once like, well, what about Danny?
Nope.
That is his downfall. Is that he never once is like, well, what about Danny?
He didn't even remember her birthday. Pele drew her a picture as the May Queen.
Well, he had ulterior motives too.
He very much had ulterior motives, but I digress. Okay, so I will say that one kind of like thought that I read about this, because the way that I see it is, Danny's, and to put it out there, Ari Aster called this movie a breakup movie. Okay, he was going through a breakup. He wanted to tell the breakup story in a different and interesting way, and so really, it's about the breaking down of Danny and Christian's relationship, and everything that's happening in the cult and everything that's happening around them is a metaphor for that relationship breakdown. Yeah. So yeah, he wins. He officially gets like worst boyfriend of the year award multiple times throughout this movie. I'm just going to say it, okay? But I was reading some people, or at least one person's opinion that they wrote about was that Danny didn't do anything out of her own free will, that it was all under the cult's influence. And so like she didn't have this like journey and didn't make these decisions and didn't break free of like her past life and literally like burn it to the ground. You know what I mean? So that was the opinion that I read from somebody where I'm like, no.
I think he basically watched the movie.
Yeah, the person, the people who said it, I feel like they were basically saying she had Stockholm syndrome and it wasn't really, a good for her story. She just got influenced by this cult to make these decisions.
And if that's what they thought, that's fine. Watch
that's
it
totally,
again.
Yeah, totally.
Watch I just it again, disagree. And if you still feel that way, that's cool. Mm-hmm. You looked at it this way, at a piece of art, and looked at it this way. Other people looked at it this way. So
totally,
yeah, for sure.
I just disagree, but that is I was curious, kind of what other people thought about it, because that is one comment that I saw about it that I thought was interesting.
I think there's a lot of things that she does that goes against what normal people would do in that situation. I don't think that. I mean, I think that most people would be like the one couple we meet where they're like, "We're gonna go."
I would have left the minute that there was a weird meal with the old couple. I'd been like, things are a little off here. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going to happen next.
Like, we're going to go. Like, that's what most people would have done. I think Danny is learning things, and she's fascinated by the culture. And she's doing a lot of things that she probably wouldn't normally do. And a lot of the things that she's included in doesn't involve Christian. And that's like a new thing for her, because I mean, at the beginning of the movie, she's like including Christian in everything. And, she's constantly talking about Christian. And as the movie progresses, she isn't thinking about Christian as often. Like she's finding her own voice and independence.
Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
She's literally like, named the May Queen, and she's sitting at the table and she's seeing a little bit of this exchange between the redheaded girl and her boyfriend. And it's like, it's kind of like outside. It's just kind of not part of her.
She's having an out-of-body experience. Yeah. Mm-hmm. She's just like seeing how people react to him and how he reacts to them. And it's like, all right, well, he's kind of, we're separate entities now. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like pretty quickly when Danny gets there, she like feels a sense of belonging and family that, she just hasn't really had. So I don't know. I feel like Danny really, there's like, because watching it again for like the fourth time this time, I was like seeing her checking out everything from people like doing their singing and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, Danny like kind of feels like she's home.
She
like,
sees the
pretty
beauty in
quick.
this. Yeah, she definitely
Yeah.
does. Yeah. One other one I want to mention before I pass it on to you guys. This was a new watch for me. I don't know if any of you guys got to watch this or not, but it is called Fresh it's on Hulu. It's from 2022.
Yeah.
This was a brand new watch for me, and I really liked it.
I love this movie. Shout out to Jeremy, our producer, because him and I have talked about this before. He's mentioned it in our group chat a couple times. It's a really fun movie. Yeah. And it has a pretty satisfying end.
It does. Ethan, have you seen this movie
I have
yet?
not seen it yet.
Okay. I won't give anything away, but all I'm going to say is basically our main character, her name is Noah, and she falls for this guy named Steve. And, they go away for a weekend. They haven't been dating that long. So she tells her friend, thankfully, she tells her friend where she's going, who she's with. And even her friend's like, really? Like, you're going to go away for a whole weekend with this guy? You barely know. But anyways, they go away for the weekend. And it turns out that he, like I told you about this movie, Ethan, he is not all that he appears. He's basically selling pieces of women to other men, or other people, I should say, that want to eat the women. Well, Noah's friend thankfully comes to her aid. And one thing that she says that I like, and I'm not going to get into the details about who's involved, but her friend goes after a woman that is involved in this. And it's like, she knows what's going on. She knows exactly what's going on. But her friend goes after this woman that is involved in the whole conspiracy of it all. And she says, women like you are the problem, because she asked this woman for help earlier in the movie and she refused to help her. She actually attacked her.
Yep.
So it's like, women like you are the problem. And Jamie,
I know.
That got me so hard, because we know women, or just people in general. Let's just say people in general. We don't want to discriminate.
Yeah.
All genders here. People that, let's say, I don't know, like there's people that, when people come forward and they're like, this happened to me, I've experienced this, and people are like, no, you didn't. That's what it reminded me of. And not to get too deep, but like, I think that this movie is a very rewarding experience for people that have gone through trauma, because it's like, you're able to confront those demons, and like, that just got straight to the core of my soul when I heard that line. And it's like, it's a really funny moment, but like, it stuck its landing, Yeah. I didn't know if you had any thoughts on that or not.
Totally.
Right.
No, I love that moment too. I second everything that you said. That was, it was an awesome moment.
It's a really good movie. That is one of my favorite watches from this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it, Ethan. You'll probably like it.
You probably will.
It's good.
I guarantee you will. Yeah. There's not really any rape involved, so that's why I liked it.
Yeah.
Jamie, what's another movie for you that you'd like to talk about?
Okay, so I just wanted to mention a couple other ones kind of quickly, so I will say I had like a good mix of rape revenge movies, and then I had to balance it out with some that were not. So, I just wanted to mention, I don't have like deep notes on it, but I really like May. Nina, you and I talked about May a little bit. It's you can really kind of empathize with her a little bit, because she's really just like a lonely person. She's not necessarily like evil or anything like that, and it is rewarding. It is rewarding what she does to some people. So I wanted to mention May.
Are we talking about the same May?
Hold up. Yes. Now, Jamie, I was saving it for the episode. I'm kind of cornering you a little bit here.
Corner me.
I'm all put my glasses on here. Man, I like the movie. Don't get me wrong. I really do like the movie.
Yeah.
But you said that she's not a bad person. She killed her cat.
I know the cat part is pretty bad, but Other than that,
No.
See, I don't know if
We're
that
gonna-
would be a good for her movie. She's a psychotic bitch movie. She's just psycho.
she is pretty psycho, but
Yeah.
I think it's a good for her. I think it's a
Okay.
good
I think
for her.
I think there are definitely parts that are good for her because
I could see parts of the movie.
especially like the further you delve into this relationship that she has with this guy
Yes.
Okay.
and the chick, by the way, because she doesn't discriminate.
Yes. Yeah, she
Right.
doesn't.
Both of them, like the way they treat her just in general, like I am on board. But I'm not gonna lie, Jamie, when she went after the cat, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
how I feel
Because
about
the
There's a
cat, anytime
line.
there's an animal or a child, it's like innocence. And so that kind of is like,
yeah,
most of our good for her girls are killing like adult people who,
who are jerks.
right. So it's like
I
anytime
honestly
there's an
think that was a
animal-
mistake. I think that was a mistake on their part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. The cat part is pretty difficult. I have another movie on my list that I didn't really like because she like attacked the dog too. So.
Yes, I know. That's another one that I was going to bring up. Ethan and I watched yesterday.
I was actually going to bring that up too. Miss 45.
Let's
yes,
talk about
yes.
Now here,
I have thoughts
think-
too.
I think that was a pretty good 80s movie. I love you
Oh,
know I love me
for
some
sure.
80s
Stylistically
movies, the
very
styles,
cool too.
everything. It was great.
Yeah, the fashion.
Now, if you've seen the movie, you know what happens to the girl. She's raped twice by two different people
In the same day.
in the same day. Now, at that point here,
Twice.
she goes and she's like,
It's brutal.
I'm gonna kill these people, and I'm gonna kill the people who've wronged me. And okay, that
Well,
was
she doesn't say that because she can't talk.
Well, no, because she can't talk. But that's a good for her moment. Okay, she took out her vengeance on these people. And then the one guy who's trying to give her back her bag and she just shoots him. Okay, that was a mistake. She thought she thought he was going to do something. But then it went from a good for her moment into she was just psycho. Now, whether that was the PTSD or whatever, because then she was just like, you're kissing your girlfriend? Gonna kill you. You're looking at me in the wrong way? I'm gonna kill you. You're at a party dressed like Princess Diana? I'm gonna kill you.
By the way, it was my favorite costume of that
Yeah.
entire
me
thing.
too.
That was awesome.
We were on the floor laughing
Yeah,
like that.
we were rolling.
You
last
wouldn't
night.
know if you didn't know.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
So
Yeah.
I really liked the movie. I thought it was a good movie, and I did think that it started off with a great good for her type thing, and then just kind of rolled into it went from good to her into I'm just a complete freaking nutbag. Maybe it's from what happened to her. I'm not saying that. Maybe she had issues before that, but it went from good for her into no, I'm just nuts. Still a very good, entertaining movie. I enjoyed it, but
Yeah.
Did attack a dog was
where do we
aggressive with
stop
dog,
the
too.
where do we stop the good for her into the psychoness? So
Because I was gonna say, like with that one, I really like the movie. I think it's super cool.
Uh-huh.
Like
Oh,
it's
the
got
soundtrack was so fun.
I know, and it's got such a super cool style. I mean, and her name
Yes.
is Thana. Like that's badass. Like that's so cool. And
The
it's got-
nun costume was sick.
I
It was so
know.
cool.
Oh, and the red lipstick, like amazing,
So great.
amazing.
she did great with all of her lines.
Oh man. But yeah, like the minute that she was starting to like kind of kill people who were like innocents basically, then you're like, okay, well, it's not really so much a good for her movie now,
Right.
because like now she's just as bad as other
Yeah.
people, I guess, attackers, like, but
Yeah.
because like there were a lot of people at that party who were totally
Just chilling.
innocent.
Yeah,
they were
totally
they were at a Halloween party, for Pete's sake. They were having
Right?
the best night of their lives,
And I was like, why did you shoot the sheik in the dick? He thought you were a hooker. He tried to pay you. It's not like he was. I mean, she was just.
He wasn't
bam.
trying to get a free
Right.
Yeah,
It's
no.
not like he was trying to do anything. He thought that was your job. Sorry,
But,
I digress.
Listen, female rage. That's I guess that was the point of the movie. It's just that she's just unhinged
Yes.
and she's got some rage to like take out on everybody, I guess. Like that was the point, I guess. I was really excited though that it was an Abel Ferrara movie. So I was like finally crossing that one off my list.
Yeah.
So I did love that when she was killed.
Yeah.
If you haven't, I mean, it's 1980 something. So if you haven't seen the movie, whatever. But
we saw it yesterday for the first time.
Right. No, but seriously, I mean, it's not like it came out last week. I mean, if you see it, you know, when the other girl had the butcher knife, she was holding it down by her crotch. I'm like, very phallic of you, sir.
Well,
yeah.
He's got a reputation.
Yeah, I was like, well, I see what you did there.
Yeah, we get it. We get your symbolism. Thanks. There is one I'd like to mention briefly. I don't know if anybody else got around to watching it or not. Oddity.
I watched that
from
first time watch.
It's on Shudder. Yes, first time watch for me too. It is about a sister who tries to uncover the truth behind her sister's murder and discovers something sinister within the family.
Yeah, good old family secrets.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the sister a lot. Like from the even before she knew anything about what was going on, like I was like, I'm here for it. Like you are fun, you know?
Oh, so fun.
So fun. Yeah, just how she runs her shop and how she talks to her customers. Like, I like you.
She's got an oddity shop. Like, she's the coolest. Like, can I just hang out with her and be friends? Although she can leave the weird little, leave the weird doll thing back at the shop. But
you can leave the stuff at her shop, please.
Yes.
I don't want the bell. So I don't want any of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just like before I even knew we were doing this, Jamie, I watched that movie because I kept hearing people talk about it.
Same.
And I was just cleaning my house and she was giving her little monologue to one of the family members. And I don't want to give it away because it's still a very new movie.
Very.
But she was giving a little monologue to him and she was saying, you know, you could have done this and you could have let it go and she would have been fine. And she would have had a hard time, but I could have helped her heal. And it's like, yeah. And it's like, that's what a good for her horror movie does. You know, like
she would have been fine without
you. Would have been fine without you. Exactly.
Yeah. Trust me on this, man.
I guarantee you she would have been fine.
It's on my list of things to watch.
It was really cool. It was really cool. It's very different.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun and the gore is so good.
Love me some gore.
Yeah. And there's lots of twists and turns. So it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
I love it. Lots a good even mix of like, you know, your gore with some supernatural. And I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Have either of you guys seen the movie Tamara?
Love Tamara.
Oh yeah. Oh, I have seen Tamara. Yes, yes, I have seen.
It's been a long time.
It's been a while, but I can picture the cover vividly. I can picture her vividly. Yes. Oh, that's.
I think that's a good for her movie as well.
Definitely.
And it's not a rape movie. There's no, you know, but the girl in it is this mousy little nerdy girl who's being picked on by everybody at school. She's got a big crush on
Ginger Snaps vibes.
On her teacher. And turns out that the single dad who's an alcoholic was raising her. Mom left. Mom was a witch. She's been doing some witchcraft stuff. Long story short, they end up killing this girl and burying her. Well, she was a witch, so she came back, and she came back as this smoking hot chick who's going to take out her vengeance on everybody, and she certainly does. So
revenge is a dish best served hot.
Yes. So I would definitely say if you have not seen that, that's a good 90s.
Yes.
Or is it 90s? Or
I think it's early 2000s.
90s,
early
2000s.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere in there. But it's a good movie.
I just want to throw a couple of names out here, and if you want to discuss it as I mention it, feel free to just shout it out. Okay. Obviously, we have to talk American Mary.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Big
one of my favorites. I wish I discovered it sooner. I slept on it for too long. But
I love American Mary.
Love American Mary. So good. Teeth.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yes. Teeth.
That was on my list too. Yeah.
Yes. Ready or Not was a first time watch for me. Finally saw it.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Great movie. I love the ending where he's like, "What happened to you?" And she's like, "Fucking in-laws."
I know. That was a very recent watch for me too. I just watched it for the first time this week and I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I finally got to watch it because it hasn't been streaming anywhere. And I was like,
Yeah.
I kept hearing bad things when it first came out. And I'm so glad I gave it a chance. It was really
Yeah.
fun.
It's
Yeah.
so much fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the biggest one that has come out in recent years, which is a franchise. It is X, Pearl, and Maxine. And
Yep.
obviously, the I Will Not Accept a Life I Do Not Deserve has resonated with women all over the horror community. So, yeah, we got to talk about that. So,
Oh yeah. Every single one of those movies in the trilogy is like a good for her horror
Yeah.
movie.
I still have not seen Maxine. I was hoping to squeeze it in this week, but I am going to watch it. So,
Okay, I've seen it. So I'll save my thoughts though until you see
I've
it.
only seen part of it.
Okay.
So.
Only seen part of it. Okay.
Wow. Look at us. Okay.
Okay.
Bad hosts, but yeah.
It's okay. But those are definitely ones I wanted to mention.
Okay. I have a couple I want to mention here.
Okay.
I kind of think Hostel 2 counts because I just didn't have a chance to rewatch it for this episode. It's been a while, but like, yeah, these girls, they totally flipped the tables, on this whole situation. And it's pretty satisfying from what I remember. So Hostel 2, I think, is a good one. The other one I wanted to mention was, okay, there's this movie called Thriller. It's called Thriller. They call her One Eye. Sometimes it's Thriller, A Cruel Picture. Sometimes it's Hooker with a Shotgun. This is a movie from 1973. Tarantino really loves this one. There was some inspiration he took from it for Kill Bill because our main character is mute and she wears an eye patch because she gets her eye gouged out. I mean, she goes through the ringer. Like, she basically gets picked up by this guy, like turned into prostitution. They make her hooked on heroin. They gouge out her eye. She forms this whole plan to get revenge. I mean, she learns like karate. She has her sawed-off shotgun, and she gets revenge. And there's like a crazy like strangulation at the end with a horse, and it's pretty awesome. Now, I will say,
very good movie.
I will say there is some serious slow-mo in this movie, some serious slow-mo fight scenes, and there's definitely some pornography in this one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Some straight-up pornography in this one, but it is 1973, okay, folks?
Yeah. I will say I have found that usually Tarantino does not steer you wrong when it comes to a good movie. So regardless, you're usually going to be entertained. Yeah.
I don't say this often, but I actually think that this movie would be really interesting to see remade, because there are some things in it that are kind of like, oh, I wish we didn't have that in it or that in it, or I wish they improved upon this just a little bit. I think I think it's a good story that could be reworked in an interesting way.
It's Kill Bill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Kill Bill 1, Kill Bill 2. It did get remade.
For sure.
They just cut out some stuff.
But I love it. I saw it years ago and always thought it was just a super cool film. So it has its flaws, but I like it. There is some pornography in it, but only some.
Definitely.
We're all adults.
It's not the whole movie. Right? Just
not the whole movie, just part of it. So
I've seen plenty of pornography-esque things. So I'm down to watch it. That sounds great.
Yeah.
A couple of my last movies would be, have you ever seen the Angel series from 1980?
I just saw Angel. I've only seen the first one so far, but I loved it. I saw it because somebody said, hey, with Maxine coming out, check out Angel. It's really cool. Oh my God, I loved it. I love the vibe. So
great movie. Great movies.
Joe Bob Briggs actually introduced me to Angel.
Okay.
So he recently had it on his show. So I found Angel that way. So once again, thank you, Joe Bob, for always introducing some great lesser known horror movies. Yeah.
Vice Squad.
I've not seen that.
Don't know
from the
that
80s. I've got it. We'll have to watch it.
Okay.
It's about this. I don't want to give too much of it, but there's a cop and a hooker dies, and they find out that he did it, and then
the cop did.
And then the other hookers are like coming in to, set this up, and it's I don't want to give too much of it away, but it's a really good movie.
I
That
just thought
sounds
it
like
was
it's satisfying.
Yeah,
Sounds satisfying.
it's a satisfying movie.
It kind of made me think of this one movie. You guys might have heard of it. It's called Frankenhooker. Would that be considered a good for her horror movie?
Okay. Thank you for mentioning
Yeah.
it. I had it on my list actually, and I was like, do I mention it or do I not mention it? And I was like,
Yeah.
because that's like one of my favorite movies of all fucking time.
Yeah.
All time, So I was like thinking about it today, and I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, first, she's killed by like this lawnmower that her boyfriend makes for her already. Okay, but she gets to come back, which is cool enough. And as she's doing her thing, she's being a Frankenhooker. I'm like, good for her. Go do your Frankenhooker thing. And then
Right.
at the end,
She's like, what's the matter, Jeffrey?
I know they have him up there with the the boobs and everything, and I'm like, that's a good for her moment. Come on, that is a good for her movie.
I agree. I think it is. Also,
Yay,
Audition.
okay. Oh,
Audition.
Oh yeah.
love Audition.
Yeah, definitely a good for her horror movie.
Yeah. Great movie.
Ethan, did you have any others?
I have some that are not horror, but
Yeah.
Okay.
the Eye for an Eye, Double
Yes.
Jeopardy,
Love Double
Sleeping with
Jeopardy.
the Enemy.
Yes.
Those are all great movies.
Totally.
Yeah.
They wouldn't fit in the vein of they would fit in the vein of the good for her, but not in the vein of horror good for her.
Horror
Yeah.
adjacent, yeah.
They're horror adjacent, but
Totally.
not horror.
Yeah.
But they're still all good movies. You should watch them all.
Oh yeah.
Love Double Jeopardy. That blew my mind the
I know.
first time I
Oh
saw
god,
it.
yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And have you guys seen An Eye for an Eye?
I have not, but I'm writing
I
it
haven't
down.
seen.
Oh, watch it. Watch it. It's got Kiefer Sutherland in it.
I
Say
love
less.
him.
Yes. Yes. Sally Field. It's
I love Sally.
I do too.
it's freaking awesome. Freaking
Definitely will check it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jamie, do you have any others on your list?
There was just one last one I was gonna bring up, and I won't get into this too much because I've already talked about the fact that I hate the Suspiria remake. So
I was gonna mention it, but I was like,
I'm not gonna get into my hatred. And if you like the Suspiria remake, that's fine. I just don't want to watch it with
sorry.
you, okay? No.
Will you watch it with me?
I will, Nina. For you, I would watch it. For you, I would watch it with you.
I love it.
I would make comments, but
I
I
love
would
it.
watch it.
Okay.
I love both of you, but please don't make me watch either one of them. No.
Well, we've already done the first one.
Yes,
but
we have.
Still do the second one.
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of need to. Anyway,
Yeah.
people have said that one is a good for her horror movie, and I see why people think that, because Susie in this one, she kind of, she steps into her power in a different way than the original one. And that's a good for her moment, I suppose. But like, honestly, I didn't care enough about, Susie didn't reclaim enough for me in the remake, where I'm like, it's not that
She
satisfying.
took it all for me. She took it all for me. I was like, yeah, that wins. But I was really sad to see Tilda go. I was like, damn it.
I know. Tilda was
no.
good. But
Yeah, I love Tilda Swinton, and she's in it as 3 different characters. So
I
it's
know. That part I did like, to see Tilda's 3 different people. That was pretty badass and awesome. But
she's great, yeah. But
I'll leave it at that.
that's for another time.
Yeah, I digress.
That's
But that
another
one is considered a good for her movie. That one is on the list. So
I could see it. Yeah, there's a lot of female empowerment in that movie throughout.
there is.
So, yeah. There's a lot that we didn't mention. There was a lot on my list that I didn't mention because there was just so much in this genre that is being lumped into this genre retrospectively, because this genre has been around for a while, but hasn't really been labeled as such. So if we didn't mention your favorites, or maybe movies that you didn't care for that are part of this genre, let us know, because we'd love to hear from you. If you disagree with some of our choices, we'd definitely love to hear from you as well, because this is a pretty new subgenre, so we're just kind of like scraping the surface here of what is considered part of this. So
yeah, and I think it'll be interesting to see what movies kind of emerge, now and in the future, where we're like, okay, that's a good for her horror movie. And I think they'll always spark some conversation, because it's like, again, it's that ambiguous morality, right? Where it's like, okay, like, this, like, is the, this revenge, it's like justified and it feels good to watch, but it's not morally on the level or whatever. So I think they'll always spark conversation, and people will always have different opinions on them, I think.
For sure. And what's great about film is you can do things in film that you can't do in the real world, which is the whole point of fiction. Emphasis on fiction. We don't encourage murder in real life, but in our movies, we're okay with it.
Right.
In movies, murder, but don't do it in real life. No.
Definitely. No.
Oh, and the last good for her, which people would say is controversial. Mama Voorhees.
We were talking about that before, yes.
Good for her. You're like, but wait, she's the villain.
No, is she?
She was avenging her child's death. So
she's
good
just
for her.
Loving mother.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Mama Voorhees, good for you.
Yeah, girl.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. That is a good for her horror movie. Because you know what? Like, I'm not a parent, but if somebody messed with my dog and my dog died because of your negligence, I'd come after you.
Oh, yeah.
I am a parent and I completely understand.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Even more so for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Just remember, if you ever find yourself in a horror movie, don't have sex.
Don't do drugs.
And certainly don't die. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.